People need to learn because you know what happens when people forget, leading into one of the big topics of our show today?
We go backwards.
Yeah, we go backwards. Like the state of Iowa, which is has already passed, and the governor is going to sign a law.
So that passed?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think it passed.
Okay.
I might be wrong on that. Whatever. Google it.
Yeah.
Anyway, this law has broad support, and if it hasn't already passed, it's expected to pass.
What law?
It's a law that will allow children as young as age 14 to work in industrial settings. If you get a waiver, you could have children working in mines, construction sites, heavy industrial settings, factories, as young as age 14. And this is being done because these facilities can't find people to do the work.
Which is nonsense, by the way. What happened to all these undocumented workers taking our jobs and documented workers taking our jobs? Like,
well,
what happened to that?
If you want to stop undocumented workers from taking jobs, you just have to pull your kids out of school and put them in coal mines. But this is so backwards. And let me sort of give a little bit of history to, you're familiar with, if you're a kid in high school, like 15, 14 years old, and you want to drop out, you can't. Remember,
Correct.
There used to be truant officers.
That's right.
You have to go to school until you're 16.
Yeah.
And the history behind that is that in the South, let's say within maybe 100 years ago, there were children that were taking the jobs of uneducated, unskilled workers. And so they couldn't provide for their families because children were doing their jobs. And so they pushed for a law that would require children to go to school until they were 16, clearing them out of the labor market so they could keep their jobs.
So it wasn't like to protect the children. It was to protect their own jobs not being done by kids.
Yeah, it served two purposes. But a big part of the law, the push for this law that was successful in the South was driven by that.
And I know, obviously, unions were a
100%.
large part in getting kids out of the coal mines and out of working in these horrible conditions, right?
Right, but the reasons behind passage of child labor laws were different in the North than they were in the South.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And what drove it in the South was grown adults having to compete with children for unskilled jobs.
So we're back to that in Iowa, I guess, huh?
Right, but let me ask you this: would you hire a 14-year-old electrician to change wiring in your house? Would you feel comfortable with a 14-year-old working in a mine or a poultry processing plant? This is insane that this is actually happening and that it's being supported, and it's starting to spread to other states. In Ohio, they're talking about, I don't think it's the same exact law, but they're talking about rolling back child labor protections.
And all this under the guise of we can't get enough workers, which is just, by the way, absolutely nonsense.
Right.
There's no worker shortage. There's a wage shortage.
Yeah, there's a shortage of workers that will do this kind of stuff for $12 an hour.
I guess. So what are they going to do? Like, hey, Timmy, get into that beef packing plant. I'd rather go to school. It's like, Timmy, we need the money. Oh, I thought you work in construction, Dad. Well, Timmy, I work in a right-to-work state and I only make $12 an hour.
They could make a remake of A Christmas Carol with, little Tiny Tim walking around with a bum leg because he hurt himself, chopping up turkeys in the turkey factory.
Timmy, kill that cow. I don't want to kill the cow. Timmy, kill that goddamn cow. It's funny. It sounds so absurd, but the fact of the matter is, like you said, that states are literally trying to pass laws right now, and they're going to pass, by the way, that allow kids to go work in horrible industrial settings.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got my first job when I was maybe 15. I'm absolutely in favor of
selling weed.
I worked at a hardware store.
Yep.
So, and I'm fully supportive of young people getting jobs to, if you want to go to the movies, you can pay for that. It's an important thing, and I'll always value. I've never, gone without a job since I was 15, but I wouldn't have worked in a mine. And if I wanted to work in a mine, my parents would have, had the sense to say no. And to think that state leaders are pushing this as though it's a good thing.
You think the state? You think this?
And this isn't the South. This isn't the '60s. This is happening in Iowa,
which is
right now,
right next door.
Yeah,
horrible right to work.
People in Iowa can hear this because WGN's antenna is so powerful. Let me just say
it is
very powerful antenna.
And we're the #1 show in the Midwest, so a lot of people are listening to this. But hey, Chuck Grassley, would you send your kid, your 14-year? Well, you're too old to have a 14-year-old.
Yeah, I think he's about 90.
Yeah, okay, but let's legislators in Iowa or any place else thinking about this, how about this? You send your kid first. Right?
Yeah.
You send your 14-year-old, 15-year-old into a meat packing plant. And by the way, I've toured one of those things. They are really, really rough. And I mean really rough.
Those are not pleasant jobs.
Oh, my God. And I was joking about killing the cow, but they're killing cows in there.
Right.
I mean, where do you think the cows go to die?
I mean, I think we all understand that there's something that happens between the cow eating the grass and the cow getting to the dinner table.
You ever see a wild cow?
A wild cow?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say it was wild. It was standing out. I don't know if anybody had a leash on it. It might have been wild, but it wasn't acting very wild.
I don't think there's such a thing as a wild cow.
Well, they don't run around. You think of a wild thing like running around. Cows just don't do that.
Okay. Well, maybe because Timmy's going to kill him.
Ken learns something new every day.
Every single day.
Hi, I'm Ed Maher, and you just watched a clip from The Worker's Mic. You can listen every Sunday on 720 WGN at 8 o'clock in the morning, and also find us on YouTube at 9 o'clock in the morning.